Alright everyone, welcome back to Study Buddy Tutorials. In this video, we'll be talking about pressure. Just a heads up, this is the second installment of our gas laws, pressure, and kinetic molecular theory video series. Part 1, we talked about the content of what pressure is, how you can relate it to the environment, and we did some examples of, we did some theoretical examples, like the shoe and the heel problem, if you remember. So this video we'll be doing a practice worksheet, as you can see below, and just a heads up, this worksheet we'll split it into 2 videos. So the first video will do 5 problems, and the other video will do 5 problems. So in this video we're doing the first 5 problems, and let's get started. So just to recap from our last video, we learned that pressure, P, is equal to force over area. And the common units we used for force was newtons, and the area units we used were meters squared. And we also learned that newtons over meter squared is known as pascals, which is the unit for pressure. Alright, so let's get started. The instructions ask us, using the formula P is equal to FA, F over A, pressure is equal to force over area, answer the below word problems. Show all work and write all units. Okay, perfect. You see here I included some conversions between units of pascals to different ATMs, kilopascals, torrs. We'll get that in the next video. I'll be doing some conversion between different units of pascals. So this will be part 3. Okay. So basically you see these triangles here, right? Either you're familiar with these triangles or either you're not familiar with these triangles. So what this basically means is it's just a more visual representation of this equation. Pressure is equal to force over area. So what this basically is that we can use, this is a quick way to remember how to calculate either pressure, force, or area using the other 2 values. So let's quickly just touch base on this. So wherever you see this horizontal line, so here, here, and then so on, so forth, these 4, this tells us that we are dividing. So whenever we're seeing a horizontal line, just remember it's division. And wherever we see the vertical line or this multiplication symbol, we know it's multiplying. Right, okay. So how do we use this triangle basically? So we'll cover up whatever unit or whatever we're trying to find, which is represented by this red orange circle here, pressure, force, area, and then we'll look at the other 2. So for example, let's use this first triangle here. We're covering up pressure. That means we're solving for pressure. We're doing pressure is equal to something. We look at the other 2 units, pressure, force, and area, and we see what operation is between them. So what is connecting these 2? So we see here that there's a line between force and area. So that's all we do. We just we'll go up from top to bottom. We'll see forces above, so force, and then we see the horizontal line over, and we see area. So pressure is equal to force over area. Then we go to the second triangle here. Here we're trying to solve for force because we put the red dot on the force. So we put force is equal to, now, since other 2 units are pressure and area, we read it from left to right. We say P, and then we see the multiplication, so we're multiplying times A. So pressure times area is equal to force. So we got that done. And then lastly, number 3, we are solving for area because that's what our red dot is over. And we see the other 2. So we say area is equal to what now? We now see that force is being used, so we'll read top to bottom, and we see force over P. So force over pressure is equal to area. And you can compute this from the equation P is equal to FA as well. So if you're trying to solve for force, you'll multiply by A on both sides, and then the A will cancel here, leaving with force is equal to pressure times area, and so on and so forth. We're leaving you with area is equal to force over pressure, right? So these are 3 equations. Okay, so first question here, let's get into that. It says calculate the pressure on a man's foot. I'm going to highlight this real quick. Okay, let's highlight this. On a man's foot when a woman who weighs 520 newtons steps on his foot with her heel, which has an area of 0.001 meters squared with all her weight. So basically, when I was highlighting this, I took the important information, which were the numbers given, and I just highlighted that, and all of the words here kind of just throw you off. Okay, so what I like to start off by doing is, it says calculate the pressure, so we'll solve for pressure. I'll just set my equation, pressure is equal to something, and then I'll use my equation to see I'm solving for pressure, so I'll do force over area. And then now what is my force? So it's a good habit to write down what you're given, because this is an easy problem, but as you get into more advanced chemistry, AP chemistry, you'll see that there's so much information given that you might not need all of it. So I'll write it down. So the givens we have is a force of 520 newtons. And how did I know that was a force? Because it says weighs, and it also has a unit of newtons. And then we're also given an area of 0.001 meters squared. And this here just tells you its area. But if it didn't tell you an area, you would just look at the units, meters squared, and that would tell you. So basically, we just have to plug in here. We have 520 newtons over 0.001 meters squared, and we solve. So I plug this in my calculator, and what do I get? Give me a second. And I get 520,000. That's the answer. What are the units? So we see newtons here, and we see meters squared. So newtons over meters squared is equal to pascals. We said that above right here. When we have newtons, and meters, we have pascals as our unit. So it's 520 pascals, and I'll just box the answer here. It's also important to box or circle your answer so it's easy for your teacher, or sometimes even your teacher requires you to do that. It's just a good practice. Okay. Question number 2. It says calculate the pressure exerted on the floor when an elephant who weighs these many newtons, 2,400 newtons, stands on one foot, which has an area of 0.4 meters squared. This we just use the same equation as above, which is pressure. We're solving for pressure because I'll just calculate the pressure is equal to force over area, because that's the equation that we're given, or we know it's a proven equation. Force given is 2,400 newtons over our area, which is 0.4 meters squared. We plug that in the calculator, 2400 over 0.4, and we get 6,000. Again, units being in pascals, because it's newtons over meters squared. And that is our answer over here, so I'm going to box that in. Alright, let's move on. So as you probably will notice, is that the more you do these problems, the easier they get. And you don't really have to memorize the equation for pressure equal to force over area. The more practice you'll do, it'll just become like memory. Alright, so next question, number 3, says calculate the pressure exerted on the heel of the boy's foot if the boy weighs 320 newtons and he lands on one heel, which is an area of this. So again, same thing here, asking us to solve for pressure. So we do pressure is equal to force over area, force being our 320 newtons because of that newtons unit, and then the area being 0.16 meters squared. And then we solve that. Let me quickly do that. So 320 over 0.16, and we get 2,000 units being pascals. We'll box that in real quick. Oops, box this in. Alright. Second to last question in this video. Oh, sorry. We'll do. Okay, I'll do the highlighter and let's read the question. How much must a woman weigh? Force. So it's how much. So we're asking for force. If the pressure she exerts while standing on one foot has an area of this, exerts a pressure of 16 pascals. This one's a little bit different, but it's still pretty easy. We'll go back and we know that pressure is this. So we're trying to solve for force. So force is equal to pressure over pressure. Force is equal to pressure times area. We'll just go back in here and we'll plug that in. So we have force is equal to pressure times area. And then I'll write my givens here because it's a new type of problem, but it's still pretty same. So we're given a pressure of 16 pascals. And we're given an area of 0.6 meters squared. Perfect. So we just plug it in now. So we do 16 times. I'm going to quickly write the units just so it's clear for y'all. Whoops. Okay, we'll do 16 pascals times 0.6 meters squared. And what that gives us is 9.6 newtons. Remember, our units is newton because we're dealing with force. That's the answer there. Alright. We'll do this as our last question. Question number 5 is our last question. So, let's do this here. Okay. So we have, we'll read the question. It says, what is the area? Okay, so we're asking for area. So it's going to be A is equal to something. Of a car that touches the road, if its weight on that tire is these many newtons, so 3,072 newtons, and the pressure exerted on the road is 48 pascals. So here we're solving for area. So I'll do this in a little bit different way. So we were given the equation pressure is equal to force over area, right? That's our overarching equation for pressure. So I'm gonna do it in a way that you don't really have to solve for force or area like we did using the triangle here and this equation here. So I'll use the same equation. So I'll do pressure. I'll write my givens first. Givens. We are given a pressure of 48 pascals, and we are also given a force of 3,072 newtons. So I'll just plug it in. So we have pressure is equal to force over area. Correct. So I'll plug 48 pascals here. So I'll put in 48, whoops, let me delete that. So 48 pascals. And we'll do the equal to. Then we'll look at the force. And the force we're given is 3,072 newtons. And we'll do the division. And whoops, we'll solve for our unknown, which is our area. So just doing basic math, you can flip it, and what you would get is area is equal to 3. Let me quickly do that calculator real quick. And I get area is equal to 64 meters squared, and that is your answer over here. Yeah, okay, so that's the box and answer. So again, you just basically need one equation. I showed you two ways. Either you can solve for equation and then solve, either you can equate an equation to be what you want. So in this case it was force, it could be different things, and then do it, or you could straight away just use the pressure equation and then solve for your unknown using just basic rearrangement and algebra there. Yep, so just next video we'll talk about questions 6 to 10, and we'll be doing a lot more with these units and converting between units of pascals to all other pressure units. Okay, and yeah, that's it for today's video. Just remember, if you need tutoring or have questions, suggestions, you can email me at this email. I can reply quickly, so, or you could comment down below. But yeah, that's good for today's video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in part 3.